supplementation systems, raise of salinity, ionic balance and imbalances. What is it all about? We got asked that question from one of our customers, and I'm going to explain to you in a very simple way, because it's not very hard, what this is about and what you should look at when you using a supplementation system that will cause that. So which ones would that be? Actually, this is also a not too hard question. So when you're using a salt-based supplementation system, means you add salts like calcium chloride, sodium bicarb. So barling method, for example, is a supplementation system that uses salts. The same counts for core 7 or nearly all of the other available kind of salt-based or liquid-based, like 3-part systems, 4-part system, 2-part systems, right? There is not too much difference, so all of them will cause a salinity raise, and I'll explain to you in a second why. The ones you wouldn't look at is something like a calcium reactor, kalkwasser, organic supplementation, like organic carbon supplementation, which is not new. It's around for a long time, but it's there is a lot of downside. So I would actually say, for me, this is not a real supplementation for a reef aquarium. That's a bit of a problem issue, but I will do another video about organic carbon supplementation, so I'll explain to you what's all that about. Anyway, so going to the normal ones would be barley, core 7, something similar, like the higher concentrated ones is core 7. There is nothing you can actually concentrate more than core 7 in a moment, and it's kind of not really possible. It's 7 times more than barling would be, but still you can also use barling. And all of them will raise your salinity because they use salts. So a salt is based or made out of 2 elements, you can say, right? There's not only one element in there. So magnesium is not only magnesium as a salt, it's magnesium chloride, right? Magnesium alone is a metal, right? So you have magnesium chloride, it's a salt, the white powder that you know, or a chip or something like that, right? The same counts for calcium. It's not only calcium, it's calcium chloride, okay? And the same counts for bicarb, so hydrogen carbonate, right? It would be sodium hydrogen carbonate, so there is sodium with it, right? And as soon as you kind of understand that it's always something that you add with it to your water, you end up with this, oh, what happens to it, you know, when it's in my water? That other element, not the calcium will be used up, right? The alkalinity, the hydrogen carbonate would be used up, but what happened to the other part of the salt, so the sodium, or when it's calcium chloride, the chloride? So what happens actually, or what we reef keepers actually created over the time, is that it all ends up being sodium chloride, right? So sodium chloride is table salt, so it's 70%. If you have watched that other video that I made about salt water and what is salt water, it's 70% of your salt water, like of the salts in your salt water, is sodium chloride. So what we're aiming for is just to add up onto the sodium chloride, because it's there anyway to a massive amount of, making up a massive amount of your water anyway, or the salts. So when you add to the sodium chloride, you have sodium and chloride. You always add sodium and chloride. So you add sodium hydrogen carbonate and calcium chloride, right? The simple one, or magnesium chloride. Then you add chloride and sodium. You end up getting a lot of brine, like a super sodium chloride, high amount of sodium chloride in your system, which always happens because that's what every single salt-based system will do, the best way. And when you end up having more and more sodium chloride, then you just add, and that's the balanced system would do that. That's not all of them. Some of them are balanced, some are not. Core 7 is balanced, for example. You would actually add the missing parts, so 70% sodium chloride, and all the others like strontium, potassium, even magnesium a bit still, boron, bromide, all these other parts to make up 100% of seawater salt, you add separately. So always when you do that, you end up having sodium chloride raised, calcium and carbonates are used up from your corals, and these little ones, strontium, potassium, and boron, bromide, fluoride, all these ones will be added separately according to how much sodium chloride you add. And that will keep your overall salt content in a perfect way. I guess it's absolutely perfect, but it will raise your salinity. And what you do then is just taking out water and replace it with fresh water, so you lower your salinity and you're all fine. That's the way we're doing it for ages. Like a lot of people, like Barling, that's actually Barling's thing, or the two-part method, if it's balanced, by Randy Holmes, and all of them work like that. Nothing to fear about. It's very easy to handle. Like I say, a lot of people do that for ages, and we do it. Yeah, and there is nothing to be worried about. In an ICP, you will see all this disbalances. If you do something wrong ever, you will see it, and it will take a long time until it reaches actually a point where you would say, well, I need to, be careful. Okay, so no worries about that. I hope you understand. If you have any questions, just write them down here. Give me a thumbs up, and we'll see us in the next video. Take care, guys.